While you exhaust yourself working 12 hours a day with your conscious mind, 90% of your power is asleep at the wheel. Joseph Murphy taught that you possess a treasure house inside you that never sleeps, never tires, and has no limits. It is the subconscious mind. It is waiting for orders, yet most people only give it orders of poverty and fear. What if you could put this giant to work for you while you rest? The secret to wealth is not harder work. It is better commands. You have been speaking to the wrong intelligence all along, using the wrong language at the wrong time. Tonight, that changes. The pain you feel is the cycle of what Murphy called objective struggle, trying to force things to happen with willpower and physical labor, only to hit burnout, exhaustion, and the terrible realization that effort alone changes nothing. You are trying to dig a swimming pool with a teaspoon when you have a steam shovel sitting right next to you. The teaspoon is your conscious effort, small and limited. The steam shovel is the subconscious, vast and tireless. You have been taught to worship the teaspoon, to grind yourself into dust with it, while the real power sits idle, waiting for a single command. Murphy promises that if you learn the language of the deep mind, you can transfer the heavy lifting to it. It must bring to pass whatever you impress upon it. This is not metaphor. This is not poetry. It is a biological law as certain as digestion or circulation. The subconscious mind does not question, does not debate, does not require your permission to begin. It only requires your instruction. And once that instruction is received, it moves with the force of an avalanche, rearranging circumstances, drawing opportunities, orchestrating coincidences that your conscious mind could never manufacture. The promise is this: wealth without struggle, health without strain, success without the soul-crushing grind that has defined your life until now. But the promise comes with a requirement. You must stop trying to do everything yourself. You must learn to delegate to the intelligence that never sleeps, the servant that is stronger than any army, faster than any computer, and more loyal than any ally you will ever meet in the physical world. In this video, we will learn the transfer protocol, how to bypass the critical filter of your waking mind and implant a command directly into the seat of intelligence, the control room where all your automatic functions are governed. This is the same mechanism that keeps your heart beating, your lungs breathing, your cells regenerating. It is already working perfectly. The only question is, what orders are you giving it? Are you commanding wealth or are you commanding poverty? Are you programming success or are you programming failure? But be careful. There is one specific emotion that acts as a cancel command. If you feel this immediately after your programming, you wipe the tape clean. You erase the instruction before it can take root. I will reveal this jamming signal in part 4. And when I do, you will understand why so many prayers go unanswered, why so many affirmations fail, why so many people work the technique perfectly and still see no results. The problem is not the technique. The problem is the signal you send immediately after. If you are ready to activate the servant, to put the night shift to work while you sleep, comment below, "I command the deep." This is not a game. This is not a ritual for luck. This is a declaration of authority. You are announcing to your own subconscious mind that you are taking command, that you are no longer a passive victim of circumstance, but the captain of your own ship. Subscribe to this channel, because what you are about to learn is the master key to the treasure house within you. And once you turn that key, nothing in your life will ever be the same. Joseph Murphy used a simple analogy to explain the relationship between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. He called it the captain and the crew. You, the conscious mind, are the captain standing on the bridge of a great ship. You are wise. You can reason. You can compare options, weigh consequences, and make decisions. But you do not steer the ship. You do not shovel the coal into the furnace. You do not turn the massive gears that propel the vessel through the water. That is the job of the crew. The crew is the subconscious mind. They are in the engine room deep below the deck, where you cannot see them. They are powerful beyond measure. They can move mountains of water, navigate storms, and keep the ship running day and night without rest. But they are blind. They have no windows. They cannot see the horizon. They do not know where the ship is going. They only know one thing: obey the captain. Whatever the captain says, they execute without question, without hesitation, without judgment. If the captain walks to the speaking tube and shouts down to the engine room, "We are heading for an iceberg," the crew does not argue. They do not say, "Are you sure, Captain? That seems unwise." They simply adjust the course and steer the ship directly into the iceberg. This is the mechanism of your life. Your subconscious mind is steering you right now toward whatever your conscious mind has been declaring. If you have been saying, "I am broke," the crew is steering you toward broke. If you have been saying, "I am sick," the crew is steering you toward sickness. Murphy taught that your life is not random. It is not the result of bad luck or unfair circumstances. Your life is simply the crew executing your past orders. Every condition you see around you, your bank account, your health, your relationships, is the physical manifestation of the instructions you have been giving to the engine room. Most people do not realize they are giving orders at all. They think they are victims. They think life is happening to them. But Murphy reveals the truth. You are the captain. You have always been the captain. The problem is that you have been giving orders unconsciously, carelessly, fearfully. The subconscious mind does not care if your orders are good for you. It does not care if your orders will lead to happiness or misery. It is not a moral agent. It is a mechanical agent. It is a law, like gravity. If you step off a cliff, gravity does not ask if you deserve to fall. It simply pulls you down. If you command poverty, the subconscious does not ask if you deserve to be poor. It simply makes you poor. This is the cold mathematical certainty of the law of mind. But here is the revelation that changes everything. The crew is waiting for new orders, right now. The subconscious mind is not holding a grudge. It is not punishing you for past mistakes. It is simply waiting at the speaking tube, ready to execute the next command you give it. If you change your orders, the crew changes course immediately. The ship begins to turn. The engine begins to hum with new purpose. The destination changes. Murphy called this the law of reversibility. Just as your thoughts create your conditions, you can create new thoughts to create new conditions. The subconscious does not know the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. If you impress upon it the feeling of wealth, it accepts wealth as the new instruction. It does not check your bank account to see if you are lying. It does not consult your past to see if you are worthy. It simply accepts the command and begins the work of manifestation. This is why affirmations fail for most people. They are standing on the bridge shouting down to the engine room, "I am wealthy, I am wealthy, I am wealthy." But their tone is desperate. Their voice is shaking. They do not believe what they are saying. And the crew deep below hears not the words but the feeling behind the words. The feeling is fear. The feeling is doubt. And so the crew executes the real order, fear and doubt. The ship continues toward poverty. Murphy insisted that the subconscious mind is impersonal. It does not love you or hate you. It does not reward you or punish you. It simply responds. It is like soil. If you plant a seed of corn, the soil does not ask, "Do you deserve corn?" It simply grows corn. If you plant a seed of nightshade, the soil does not warn you, "This is poison." It simply grows nightshade. The soil is neutral. The subconscious is neutral. The responsibility for what grows in your life rests entirely with you, the planter, the captain, the one who chooses the seed. Therefore, the first step in commanding the deep mind is to accept full responsibility for the orders you have been giving. You must stop blaming the economy, your parents, your boss, your circumstances. Those are all effects. You are the cause. Your thoughts are the cause. Your habitual inner speech is the cause. And if you have been living in lack, it is because you have been commanding lack. This is not a judgment. This is a diagnosis. And once you have the correct diagnosis, you can prescribe the correct cure. The cure is simple. Change the command. Stop telling the crew that you are broke, sick, unlucky, unworthy. Start telling the crew that you are wealthy, healthy, blessed, deserving. But you must tell them in the language they understand. The subconscious does not speak English. It does not speak words, it speaks feeling. It speaks images, it speaks the language of assumption. You must feel wealthy before you are wealthy. You must assume health before you see health. This is the transfer protocol. Murphy discovered that the subconscious mind is most receptive to new orders at specific times. There are windows of opportunity when the door to the engine room is wide open, when the critical filter of the conscious mind is relaxed, when the captain's voice can travel down the speaking tube without interference. The most powerful of these windows occurs every single night in the moments before you fall asleep. This is the lullaby state, the hypnagogic threshold, the golden hour of programming. In this state, the conscious mind is tired. It has been working all day, making decisions, solving problems, defending against threats. Now it is ready to rest, and as it rests, its grip loosens. The door to the subconscious swings open. The crew is standing at attention, waiting for the final order of the day. Whatever you say in this moment, whatever you feel in this moment, will be executed throughout the night. The night shift will go to work on it while you sleep, weaving it into the fabric of your reality, drawing the resources, the people, the circumstances needed to make it true. This is the secret to wealth without struggle. You do not struggle. You command. You do not force. You impress. You do not work harder. You work smarter by enlisting the intelligence that is infinitely smarter than you, infinitely more powerful than you, and infinitely more capable of bringing about the result you desire. The subconscious mind is your silent partner. It is your treasure house. It is your steam shovel. And tonight you will learn how to put it to work. The logic behind this process is airtight. Murphy called it deductive reasoning, and it is the key to understanding why the subconscious mind must obey your command. The subconscious cannot argue. It cannot compare. It cannot say, "That doesn't make sense." It only accepts. This is not a flaw. This is its design. The subconscious mind is the executor, not the judge. It is the builder, not the architect. You are the architect. You provide the blueprint, and the subconscious builds according to that blueprint, without deviation, without question, without delay. Consider how the subconscious already operates in your body. Right now, as you listen to these words, your subconscious is regulating your heartbeat, filtering toxins through your liver, repairing damaged cells, balancing your body temperature, and performing 10,000 other tasks that you are not consciously aware of. You do not have to think about breathing. You do not have to remind your heart to beat. These functions are automatic, governed by the deep mind, the intelligence that never sleeps. Murphy asks, if the subconscious can perform these biological miracles without your conscious effort, why can it not perform financial miracles, relational miracles, creative miracles? The answer is, it can. It does. It is doing so right now. The only question is, what blueprint are you giving it? If you are giving it a blueprint of poverty, it will build poverty with the same efficiency that it builds your heartbeat. If you are giving it a blueprint of wealth, it will build wealth with the same inevitability that it builds new skin cells to replace the old. The mechanism is identical. The subconscious does not distinguish between a biological command and a financial command. It does not say, I can heal your body, but I cannot heal your bank account. It simply responds to the dominant impression. If you impress upon it the image of a healed body, it mobilizes the healing forces. If you impress upon it the image of a full bank account, it mobilizes the wealth-attracting forces. The law is the same, the process is the same, the certainty is the same. This is why Murphy insisted that wealth is not a matter of luck, talent, or external conditions. Wealth is a matter of mental impression. If you can hold the impression of wealth in your subconscious mind with the same constancy that your subconscious holds the impression of your heartbeat, wealth must manifest. It is a mathematical certainty. The subconscious does not fail, it cannot fail. It is the law of your being, as reliable as the law of gravity, as predictable as the law of cause and effect. But here is where most people stumble. They try to impress the subconscious with words alone. They say, I am wealthy, but they do not feel wealthy. They say, I am successful, but they do not believe it. And the subconscious, which responds only to feeling, ignores the words and responds to the underlying emotion. If the underlying emotion is fear, the subconscious builds fear. If the underlying emotion is doubt, the subconscious builds doubt. The words are irrelevant. The feeling is everything. Therefore, the key to commanding the deep mind is not to repeat affirmations mechanically. The key is to generate the feeling that corresponds to the affirmation. You must feel wealthy. You must feel successful. You must feel healthy. And you must sustain that feeling long enough for it to sink below the surface of the conscious mind and take root in the soil of the subconscious. Once it takes root, it grows automatically, inevitably, without further effort on your part. Murphy compared this to planting a seed. You do not dig up the seed every day to check if it is growing. You do not stand over it with a flashlight at night, demanding that it sprout. You plant it, water it, and then you leave it alone. You trust the intelligence of the soil to do its work. The seed knows how to become a tree. The soil knows how to nourish the seed. Your job is simply to plant the right seed and then get out of the way. This is the principle of non-interference. Once you have impressed the subconscious with your desire, you must let it work. You must not dig it up with doubt. You must not strangle it with anxiety. You must not poison it with fear. You must simply assume that the work is being done, that the night shift is on the job, that the crew is executing your command, and you must go about your day with the calm confidence of one who has mailed a letter and knows that the postman will deliver it. This calm confidence is the hallmark of the master. The amateur tries to force the result. The amateur clenches his teeth, tenses his muscles, and tries to make it happen through sheer willpower. But willpower is a function of the conscious mind, and the conscious mind is weak. It tires easily, it gets distracted, it doubts. The subconscious mind, by contrast, never tires. It never doubts. It never gets distracted. It simply works, day and night, executing the command you have given it. Murphy taught that the subconscious mind is connected to infinite intelligence. It is not limited by your personal knowledge, your personal skills, or your personal resources. It can draw upon the wisdom of the ages, the creativity of the cosmos, the organizing power of the universe itself. When you command the deep mind, you are not commanding a servant. You are commanding a genius. You are commanding a force that can solve problems you did not know existed, that can open doors you did not know were there, that can bring you opportunities you could never have imagined. This is why Murphy called it the treasure house. Inside you, right now, is a vault of infinite riches, not metaphorical riches, actual riches, ideas that could make you millions, solutions that could save your business, insights that could heal your body, connections that could change your life. The vault is full, the door is unlocked. The only question is, are you giving the subconscious the command to open it, or are you giving it the command to keep it closed? The logic is inescapable. If you command poverty, you get poverty. If you command wealth, you get wealth. The subconscious does not argue, it does not negotiate, it simply obeys. This is the law of your mind. This is the law of belief. Murphy said it plainly. The law of your mind is the law of belief. Belief is a thought in your mind, which causes the power of your subconscious to be distributed into all phases of your life according to your thinking habits. Your thinking habits are your commands. Change your commands, and you change your life. Therefore, the work is not to change the world. The work is to change your inner speech. The work is not to manipulate circumstances. The work is to impress the subconscious with the image of the circumstances you desire. Once the image is impressed, the circumstances must follow. This is not hope. This is not wishful thinking. This is law, and law is predictable. Law is certain. Law does not play favorites. It works for everyone who works with it. The question is, are you working with it or are you working against it? The required state for commanding the deep mind is what Murphy called the lullaby state. This is the drowsy, hypnagogic threshold that occurs in the moments just before you fall asleep. In this state, the captain is tired. The conscious mind, which has been vigilant all day, is ready to rest. Its defenses are down, its critical filter is relaxed, and the door to the engine room, the subconscious, is wide open. This is the prime time for sacred logic, the golden hour of programming, the window of opportunity that most people waste by falling asleep in worry, fear, or mindless distraction. Scientists now call this the theta state, a brainwave frequency between 4 and 8 cycles per second. In this state, the brain is highly neuroplastic, meaning it is capable of rapid rewiring. Neural pathways that have been carved by decades of negative thinking can be rerouted in minutes. Old patterns can be dissolved. New patterns can be installed. Murphy did not have access to EEG machines or neuroscience labs, but he understood the principle intuitively. He called it prayer therapy. Science calls it self-directed neuroplasticity. The mechanism is the same. In the lullaby state, you are neither fully awake nor fully asleep. You are in the borderland, the twilight zone, the space between two worlds. In this space, the laws of logic are suspended. The conscious mind, which normally insists on evidence and proof, is too tired to argue. It cannot say, "That's impossible." It cannot say, "You don't deserve that." It simply allows the impression to pass through unfiltered, unchallenged, directly into the subconscious. This is why children are so easy to hypnotize at bedtime. Their conscious minds are not yet strong enough to resist. The same principle applies to you. Murphy discovered that whatever thought or feeling dominates your mind in the lullaby state will be amplified throughout the night. The subconscious takes this final impression and works on it for 8 hours while you sleep. It is like giving an assignment to a team of engineers and then leaving the office. When you return in the morning, the work is done. The blueprints are drawn, the materials are ordered, the construction has begun. You do not see the process, you only see the result. And the result is always a perfect reflection of the command you gave. This is why Murphy warned against falling asleep in fear, anger, or resentment. If you fall asleep worrying about your bills, you are commanding the subconscious to create more bills. If you fall asleep replaying an argument, you are commanding the subconscious to create more conflict. If you fall asleep feeling like a failure, you are commanding the subconscious to orchestrate more failure. The night shift is always working. The question is, what are you telling it to build? A palace or a prison? The lullaby state is not something you have to create. It happens naturally every night. The challenge is to use it intentionally. Most people waste it. They fall asleep scrolling through their phones, watching the news, or letting their minds wander through a swamp of negative thoughts. They do not realize they are programming their subconscious with garbage. They do not realize they are giving orders to the crew. And then they wake up the next day and wonder why their life is a mess. Murphy taught that the moments before sleep are sacred. This is the time to take control of your inner speech. This is the time to choose your final thought of the day with the same care that a jeweler chooses a diamond, because that final thought will be magnified, multiplied, and manifested while you sleep. If you choose a thought of wealth, you will wake up closer to wealth. If you choose a thought of health, you will wake up closer to health. If you choose a thought of love, you will wake up closer to love. The law is precise. To enter the lullaby state intentionally, you must first relax your body. Lie down in a comfortable position. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. Feel the weight of your body sinking into the mattress. Feel the tension draining out of your muscles. You are not trying to fall asleep immediately. You are trying to reach the edge of sleep, the threshold where you are still conscious but deeply relaxed. This is the state where the door to the subconscious is open. As you relax, you will notice your thoughts beginning to drift. This is normal. Do not fight it. Do not try to force your mind to be still. Simply allow the drift. You are entering the borderland. Your conscious mind is losing its grip. The critical filter is dissolving. And now in this vulnerable state, you are ready to give the command. You are ready to impress the subconscious with the image of your desire. You are ready to plant the seed that will grow into your new reality. Murphy emphasized that the lullaby state is not a trance. You are not unconscious. You are not hypnotized by an external force. You are simply in a state of heightened receptivity where the subconscious is listening more carefully than usual. This is the state where prayers are answered, where miracles occur, where the impossible becomes possible. Because in this state, the subconscious does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. It accepts your imagination as reality. And once it accepts it, it begins to make it real. This is the architecture of transformation. The lullaby state is the foundation. Without it, your commands are weak. They bounce off the surface of the conscious mind and never reach the subconscious. But with it, your commands sink deep. They penetrate the engine room. They reach the crew. And the crew, loyal and tireless, begins to execute. The ship begins to turn. The destination changes. And you, the captain, can finally rest, knowing that the night shift is on the job. The lullaby state is not reserved for mystics or monks. It is available to you every single night. You do not need special training. You do not need years of meditation. You simply need to recognize the opportunity and use it. Tonight, when you lie down to sleep, you will have a choice. You can waste the lullaby state on worry and distraction, or you can use it to command the deep mind. You can fall asleep as a victim, or you can fall asleep as a captain. The choice is yours, the power is yours, the treasure house is yours. Murphy said, never go to sleep feeling discouraged or disturbed. Never go to sleep with a negative thought in your mind. This is a very simple rule, but it is very powerful. The reason it is powerful is because the subconscious is most impressionable in the moments before sleep. If you give it a negative command, it will work on that command all night. If you give it a positive command, it will work on that command all night. The subconscious does not judge, it simply works. And the quality of your life is determined by the quality of the commands you give it in the lullaby state. Therefore, treat the moments before sleep as a sacred ritual. Do not rush through them. Do not fall asleep carelessly. Take a few minutes to calm your mind, relax your body, and choose your final thought with intention. This is the most important work you will do all day. This is the work that changes everything. Because while you sleep, the night shift is building your tomorrow. And tomorrow will be a perfect reflection of the command you give tonight. The lullaby state is the portal. It is the gateway to the treasure house. It is the speaking tube that connects the captain to the crew. Use it wisely. Use it nightly. And watch as your life begins to transform. Not through struggle, not through force, but through the silent, invisible, inevitable power of the subconscious mind, working on your behalf while you rest. Now we come to the execution, the precise protocol for commanding the deep mind. This is not a vague suggestion. This is a step-by-step procedure, a transfer protocol that Murphy refined over decades of clinical work with thousands of individuals. If you follow these steps exactly, the subconscious must respond. It has no choice, it is law. The first step is what Murphy called the condensation. You must condense your desire into a short phrase or even a single word. Do not give long speeches. The crew does not need a dissertation. They need a command. If you want wealth, the word is wealth. If you want health, the word is health. If you want success, the word is success. If you want a specific outcome, condense it into a short phrase: divine order, perfect solution, abundant supply. The shorter, the better. The simpler, the better. The subconscious responds to clarity, not complexity. A single word, repeated with feeling, is more powerful than 1,000 words repeated mechanically. This is the principle of compression. You are compressing your entire desire into a seed, and that seed will grow into a tree. Murphy used the analogy of a telegram. In the old days, you paid by the word, so you learned to say what you needed to say in as few words as possible. The same principle applies here. The subconscious does not need a detailed explanation of why you want wealth or how you plan to get it. It only needs the key word. The key word is the seed, everything else is commentary. Plant the seed, and the subconscious will grow the tree. It knows how to do this. It has been doing it since you were born. Every condition in your life right now is a tree that grew from a seed you planted, consciously or unconsciously. Once you have chosen your keyword, you move to the second step, the loop. As you lie in the lullaby state, you repeat this word or phrase like a lullaby. You do not force it. You do not shout it. You float it into your mind, gently, rhythmically, like a mantra. Wealth, wealth, wealth. Or, I am wealthy, I am wealthy, I am wealthy. The repetition is crucial. You are not trying to convince the subconscious. You are trying to saturate it. You are dripping dye into clear water. At first, the water remains clear, but as you continue to drip, the water begins to change color. Eventually, the water must take the color of the dye. This is the law of saturation. Murphy taught that the subconscious learns through repetition. It does not learn through logic. It does not learn through argument. It learns through repetition and feeling. If you repeat a thought enough times with enough feeling, the subconscious accepts it as true. It does not matter if the thought contradicts your current circumstances. The subconscious does not check your bank account. It does not consult your medical records. It simply accepts the dominant impression. And once it accepts it, it begins to make it true. The loop is a form of self-hypnosis. You are hypnotizing yourself with your own voice, your own words, your own feeling. But unlike stage hypnosis, where an external hypnotist gives you suggestions, you are the hypnotist. You are giving yourself the suggestions. And because you trust yourself more than you trust anyone else, the suggestions go in deeper. The subconscious does not resist. It opens like a flower, and the seed of your desire falls into fertile soil. As you repeat your keyword, you must also generate the feeling that corresponds to it. If your keyword is wealth, you must feel wealthy. Not in the future, not someday, right now. You must feel the relief of having money in the bank. You must feel the security of knowing your bills are paid. You must feel the freedom of being able to buy what you want without checking the price. This feeling is the fertilizer. Without it, the seed will not grow. With it, the seed explodes into life. Murphy said, "Feeling is the secret." This phrase, borrowed from his colleague Neville Goddard, captures the essence of the technique. The words are the seed, but the feeling is the water. If you repeat the words without feeling, you are planting a seed in dry soil. Nothing will grow. But if you repeat the words with feeling, you are planting a seed in rich, moist soil, and the growth is inevitable. The subconscious responds to feeling the way a plant responds to sunlight. It cannot help but grow. To generate the feeling, Murphy recommended using your imagination. Imagine a scene that would naturally occur if your desire were already fulfilled. If you want wealth, imagine opening your bank statement and seeing a large balance. Imagine the feeling of relief, the feeling of security, the feeling of gratitude. Do not imagine the process of getting the money. Do not imagine working harder or winning the lottery. Imagine the end result. Imagine the fulfilled desire, and feel it as if it were happening right now. This is the principle of the end result. The subconscious does not care how the desire is fulfilled. It only cares that the desire is fulfilled. If you give it the end result, it will figure out the path. It will orchestrate the circumstances. It will move the pieces on the chessboard of your life. Your job is not to figure out the how. Your job is to provide the what and the feeling. The subconscious handles the how. This is the division of labor. You are the captain. The crew handles the engine. As you loop your keyword and generate the feeling, you will begin to feel drowsy. This is good. You are entering deeper into the lullaby state. Do not fight the drowsiness. Embrace it. Let yourself drift. Continue to repeat your keyword, but let it become softer, slower, more like a whisper. You are falling asleep in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled. You are falling asleep as a wealthy person, a healthy person, a successful person. This is the third step, the handover. The handover is the moment when you release the command to the subconscious and fall asleep. You have done your part. You have planted the seed. You have watered it with feeling. Now you must let it grow. You must fall asleep in the assumption that it is done. You must feel the relief of knowing that the night shift is on the job, that the crew is executing your command, that the treasure house is opening. This relief is the signal that the command has been received. Murphy warned against trying to hold on to the command. Do not clench it. Do not grip it. Do not stay awake trying to make sure it worked. That is coercion, and coercion is the enemy of manifestation. You must let go. You must surrender. You must fall asleep in peace, knowing that the work is being done. Think of it like mailing a letter. You write the letter, you put it in the mailbox, and then you let the postman deliver it. You do not follow the postman. You do not dig the letter out of the mailbox to check if it's still there. You trust the system. You trust the law. This trust is the hallmark of mastery. The amateur tries to force the result. The master plants the seed and walks away. The amateur digs up the seed every day to see if it's growing. The master waters the seed and trusts the intelligence of the soil. The amateur falls asleep in anxiety, wondering if the technique will work. The master falls asleep in certainty, knowing that the law never fails. The subconscious is not experimenting, it is executing, and execution is guaranteed. Murphy said, "When you pray, believe that you have received, and you shall receive." This is the handover. You believe that you have received before you see the evidence. You fall asleep in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And because the subconscious does not know the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one, it accepts your imagined fulfillment as real. And once it accepts it as real, it begins to make it real in the physical world. This is the mechanism of the miracle. The post technique is just as important as the technique itself. When you wake up in the morning, do not immediately look for the result. Do not check your bank account anxiously. Do not scan your body for signs of healing. Do not demand proof. That is doubt, and doubt is the cancel command. Instead, wake up with the calm confidence that the night shift has been working on your command. Expect the solution to appear out of the blue. Expect a phone call, an email, a chance encounter, an unexpected opportunity. The subconscious works in mysterious ways, but it always works. Murphy taught that the subconscious often delivers results through synchronicity. You will be in the right place at the right time. You will meet the right person. You will hear the right piece of information. To the outside observer, it looks like luck. But you know the truth. It is not luck. It is law. The subconscious has been rearranging the pieces, orchestrating the circumstances, setting up the dominoes. And now, in the light of day, you see the result of the night shift's work. Do not analyze the result. Do not question it. Simply receive it with gratitude. Say thank you. And then repeat the process the next night. The lullaby protocol is not a one-time event. It is a nightly practice. Every night you plant a new seed. Every morning you harvest the fruit. Over time, your life becomes a garden of abundance, health, success, and joy. Not because you worked harder, not because you got lucky, but because you learned to command the deep mind. You learned the language of the crew. You learned to use the treasure house within. This is the architecture of wealth without struggle. This is the blueprint for success without strain. This is the transfer protocol that Murphy used to help thousands of people transform their lives. And now it is yours. Tonight, when you lie down to sleep, you will use it. You will choose your keyword. You will loop it with feeling. You will hand it over to the night shift, and you will fall asleep as a captain, confident that the crew is executing your command. This is the beginning of your new life. Now we come to the fatal mistakes, the errors that sabotage the technique, even when it is performed perfectly. The first and most deadly mistake is what Murphy called desperation or coercion. This is the jamming signal I warned you about in the beginning. If you try to force the subconscious, if you clench your teeth and strain your will, if you approach the technique with tension and anxiety, you are not commanding, you are begging. And begging is a signal of lack. The subconscious reads the signal, not the words, and the signal says, "I do not have it. I am desperate. I am afraid." That becomes the command. Murphy said it plainly. You cannot coerce the subconscious mind. Coerced effort leads to failure. This is one of the most misunderstood principles in all of mental science. People think that if they just try harder, if they just put more effort into their affirmations, they will get better results. But the opposite is true. The more you try, the more you fail. Because trying is a function of the conscious mind, and the conscious mind is weak. The subconscious responds to ease, not effort. It responds to assumption, not striving. It responds to the feeling of already having, not the feeling of desperately wanting. Think of it this way. If you are trying to fall asleep, and you say to yourself, "I must fall asleep. I must fall asleep. I have to fall asleep." What happens? You stay awake. The effort to fall asleep prevents sleep. But if you simply relax, let go, and assume that sleep will come naturally, you drift off effortlessly. The same principle applies to commanding the subconscious. If you try to make it work, you prevent it from working. If you relax and assume it is already working, it works effortlessly. This is why Murphy insisted on the word easy. He said, "Easy does it." The technique must be performed in a state of relaxation, not tension. You are not fighting a battle. You are not climbing a mountain. You are simply giving an instruction to a loyal servant. The servant is eager to obey. The servant is capable of obeying. The only thing that stops the servant is your own tension, your own doubt, your own fear. If you approach the technique with calm confidence, the subconscious responds immediately. If you approach it with desperation, the subconscious shuts down. The reason desperation is a cancel command is because desperation is rooted in fear, and fear is a stronger emotion than desire. If you say, "I am wealthy," but you feel terrified of being poor, the subconscious hears the fear, not the words. Fear is the dominant impression, and the subconscious, which always responds to the dominant impression, begins to manifest more situations that justify your fear. You get more bills, you get more debt, you get more evidence that you are poor. Not because the universe is punishing you, but because you commanded poverty through your fear. Murphy taught that fear and faith cannot coexist. You are either in a state of fear or a state of faith. If you are in fear, you are commanding the subconscious to create more of what you fear. If you are in faith, you are commanding the subconscious to create more of what you desire. Faith is not blind belief. Faith is the feeling of certainty. It is the calm assurance that the law is working, that the night shift is on the job, that the result is inevitable. This faith is the opposite of desperation. This faith is the key to success. How do you avoid desperation? By remembering that you are not trying to get something you don't have. You are claiming something that is already yours. The treasure house is already full. The wealth is already there. The health is already there. The success is already there. You are not creating it. You are simply opening the door to it. You are not begging the universe to give you something. You are commanding your own subconscious to reveal what is already within you. This shift in perspective eliminates desperation instantly. The second fatal mistake is what Murphy called the morning cancel. You do the technique perfectly at night. You choose your keyword. You loop it with feeling. You fall asleep in the assumption of the wish fulfilled. But then you wake up in the morning, look at your bank account and say, "I'm so broke." In that moment, you just dug up the seed you planted. You just erased the command. You just told the crew, "Forget what I said last night. I'm broke." And the crew, loyal and obedient, adjusts course back toward poverty. This is the mistake that destroys more manifestations than any other. People do the work at night, but they undo it in the morning. They plant the seed, but they dig it up before it can sprout. They give the command, but they cancel it with their first thought of the day. Murphy warned against this repeatedly. He said, "Watch your first waking thought. It sets the tone for the entire day." If your first waking thought is fear, lack, or doubt, you are canceling the work of the night shift. If your first waking thought is gratitude, confidence, and expectation, you are reinforcing the work. The solution is to develop a morning protocol. When you wake up, before you check your phone, before you look at your bank account, before you allow the worries of the day to flood your mind, take a moment to affirm the command you gave the night before. Say, "The night shift has been working on my wealth. I expect good news today." Or simply repeat your keyword. Wealth. 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 This reinforces the impression. It tells the subconscious, "Yes, I still want this. Continue the work." Murphy also recommended avoiding negative conversations in the morning. Do not start your day by complaining about your problems, discussing your bills, or rehashing your failures. Every word you speak is a command to the subconscious. If you speak poverty, you command poverty. If you speak health, you command health. Your inner speech and your outer speech must align with your desire. This is the discipline of the master. The amateur lets his mouth run wild, cancelling his own commands with careless words. The master guards his speech like a jeweler guards diamonds. Another form of the morning cancel is impatience. You do the technique for one night and then wake up expecting the result to be sitting on your doorstep. When it's not, you say, "This doesn't work." That is doubt, and doubt is a cancel command. Murphy taught that the subconscious works in its own time. Sometimes the result appears in hours. Sometimes it takes days. Sometimes it takes weeks. The timing depends on the complexity of the desire and the depth of your belief. But the result is always inevitable if you persist. Persistence is the antidote to the morning cancel. You do not do the technique once and give up. You do it every night until the result appears. You plant the seed every night. You water it every morning. You protect it from the weeds of doubt and fear. And eventually, the seed breaks through the soil. The sprout appears. The tree grows. And you harvest the fruit. This is the law of growth. It is slow, but it is certain. The only way to fail is to stop planting. Murphy said, "Patience, persistence, and perspiration make an unbeatable combination for success." But notice that he did not say struggle. He said persistence. Persistence is not the same as struggle. Persistence is simply continuing to give the command, night after night, until the subconscious executes it. Struggle is trying to force the result through willpower. Persistence is trusting the law and repeating the technique. One leads to exhaustion, the other leads to manifestation. The third fatal mistake, though less common, is what Murphy called mixed commands. This occurs when you give one command at night and a different command during the day. For example, you affirm wealth at night, but you spend all day worrying about money, complaining about your job, and telling your friends how broke you are. The subconscious receives mixed signals. It does not know which command to execute, so it defaults to the dominant impression, which is usually the one you repeat most often during the day. If you spend 1 minute affirming wealth and 8 hours affirming poverty, poverty wins. The solution is to align your daytime thoughts with your nighttime command. This does not mean you have to repeat affirmations all day. It simply means you must stop contradicting yourself. If you affirm wealth at night, do not speak poverty during the day. If you affirm health at night, do not complain about your symptoms during the day. Guard your speech. Guard your thoughts. Treat every thought as a command, because it is. The subconscious is always listening. It never takes a break. It is recording every word, every feeling, every assumption, and it is building your life according to that recording. Murphy taught that the subconscious is like a tape recorder. Whatever you say, it records. Whatever you repeat, it amplifies. If you want to change the recording, you must change what you say. You must stop playing the old tape of lack, fear, and failure. You must start playing a new tape of abundance, confidence, and success. And you must play that new tape consistently, night and day, until it becomes the dominant recording. Once it becomes dominant, the subconscious has no choice but to manifest it. This is the law of mental equivalence. Your outer world must match your inner recording. Now we come to the master's tips, the refinements that separate the amateur from the expert. Murphy said, "The law of your mind is the law of belief." Belief is a thought in your mind, which causes the power of your subconscious to be distributed into all phases of your life according to your thinking habits. This statement contains the entire secret. Your thinking habits are your commands. If your habitual thought is poverty, you will experience poverty. If your habitual thought is wealth, you will experience wealth. The subconscious does not care what you want. It cares what you habitually think. This is why a single affirmation, no matter how powerful, cannot overcome a lifetime of negative thinking. If you affirm wealth for 5 minutes at night, but think poverty for 16 hours during the day, poverty is your habitual thought. The subconscious executes the habit, not the exception. Therefore, the real work is not to do the technique once. The real work is to change your habitual thought. You must make wealth your default setting. You must make success your automatic assumption. You must reprogram the tape that plays in the background of your mind all day, every day. Murphy recommended a technique he called mental equivalence. He said, "You must build a mental equivalent of what you want to experience in your world." A mental equivalent is a mental image that corresponds to your desire. If you want a new house, you must build a mental image of that house. If you want a thriving business, you must build a mental image of that business. The mental image is the blueprint. The subconscious is the builder. If you give the builder a clear blueprint, the builder constructs the house exactly as specified. If you give the builder a vague or contradictory blueprint, the builder cannot do its job. To build a mental equivalent, Murphy suggested using all 5 senses in your imagination. Do not just see the house. Walk through it. Feel the texture of the walls. Smell the fresh paint. Hear the sound of your footsteps on the floor. Taste the coffee you drink in the kitchen. The more vivid the mental image, the more powerful the impression on the subconscious. The subconscious responds to sensory detail. It does not respond to abstract concepts. If you say, "I want to be rich," the subconscious does not know what that means. But if you imagine holding a stack of $100 bills, feeling the texture of the paper, smelling the ink, the subconscious knows exactly what to do. Another master's tip is to use the technique of mental rehearsal. This is especially powerful for specific events, like a job interview, a sales presentation, or a difficult conversation. Before the event, enter the lullaby state and mentally rehearse the event going perfectly. See yourself walking into the room with confidence. Hear yourself speaking with clarity and authority. Feel the satisfaction of a successful outcome. The subconscious does not know the difference between a rehearsal and the real event. It treats the rehearsal as real, and when the real event occurs, you will find yourself performing exactly as you rehearsed, because the subconscious has already executed the command. Murphy also taught the power of gratitude. He said, "Gratitude is the secret of abundance." When you feel grateful for what you already have, you are sending a signal to the subconscious that you are abundant. And the subconscious, which always seeks to confirm your beliefs, brings you more things to be grateful for. Gratitude is not just a nice feeling, it is a command. It is a declaration that you are living in abundance, not lack. And the subconscious responds by creating more abundance. To practice gratitude, Murphy recommended a simple exercise. Before you fall asleep, instead of focusing on what you want, focus on what you already have. Say, "I am grateful for my health. I am grateful for my home. I am grateful for my family. I am grateful for the air I breathe." This shifts your focus from lack to abundance. And when you fall asleep in a state of gratitude, the subconscious works all night to bring you more things to be grateful for. This is the law of increase. What you appreciate appreciates. Another powerful tip is to use the technique of revision. If something negative happened during the day, do not fall asleep replaying it in your mind. That is a command to create more negative experiences. Instead, revise the event in your imagination. Replay it the way you wish it had happened. If you had an argument, replay the conversation with both parties speaking kindly. If you made a mistake, replay the event with you performing flawlessly. The subconscious does not know which version is real. It simply accepts the version you replay most vividly. And over time, your life begins to conform to the revised version. Murphy said, "Change your thoughts and you change your destiny." This is not a metaphor, this is a literal instruction. Your thoughts are the seeds. Your subconscious is the soil. Your life is the harvest. If you want a different harvest, you must plant different seeds. You cannot plant weeds and expect roses. You cannot think poverty and expect wealth. You cannot think sickness and expect health. The law is exact. The law is impartial. The law does not make exceptions. It simply responds to the seeds you plant. The final master's tip is to develop what Murphy called scientific prayer. This is not begging God for favors. This is commanding your own subconscious with the authority of one who knows the law. Scientific prayer has 3 steps: recognition, unification, and realization. First, you recognize that infinite intelligence is within you, that the subconscious is connected to the source of all power. Second, you unify with that power by assuming that your desire is already fulfilled. Third, you realize that the work is done, that the subconscious is executing the command, and you give thanks. Murphy said, "When you pray scientifically, you do not beg or supplicate. You claim your good, you accept it mentally, you give thanks for it, and then you go about your business, knowing that the law is working." This is the attitude of the master. The master does not hope, the master knows. The master does not wish. The master commands. The master does not wait anxiously for the result. The master expects the result with calm certainty because the master understands the law, and the law never fails. These master's tips are not optional. They are essential. They are the refinements that transform the technique from a simple exercise into a powerful tool of transformation. If you use these tips, you will see results faster, more consistently, and more dramatically than you ever thought possible. If you ignore these tips, you will struggle. You will wonder why the technique works for others but not for you. The answer is always the same. The law is working perfectly. The question is, are you working the law perfectly? Now we connect Murphy's teachings to the hard science of neurology. What Murphy called the subconscious mind, neuroscientists call the limbic system, the basal ganglia, and the autonomic nervous system. What Murphy called the lullaby state, neuroscientists call the theta brainwave state. What Murphy called impression, neuroscientists call neuroplasticity. The language is different, but the mechanism is identical. Murphy was describing biological processes that science is only now beginning to understand. When you enter the theta state, the drowsy, hypnagogic threshold before sleep, your brain waves slow down from the beta frequency of waking consciousness, 13 to 30 cycles per second, to the theta frequency, 4 to 8 cycles per second. In this state, the prefrontal cortex, which governs critical thinking and logical analysis, becomes less active. The critical filter relaxes. The door to the subconscious swings open. This is not metaphor. This is measurable on an EEG machine. In the theta state, the brain is in a condition of heightened neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to rewire itself, to form new neural pathways and dissolve old ones. Scientists have discovered that the brain is not fixed. It is not hardwired. It is constantly changing, constantly adapting, constantly reorganizing itself based on the input it receives. And the input it is most receptive to occurs in the theta state. This is why hypnosis works. This is why meditation works. This is why the lullaby protocol works. When you repeat a thought or image in the theta state, you are not just thinking, you are literally rewiring your brain. You are creating new neural pathways that correspond to the thought or image. If you repeat the thought, "I am wealthy with feeling," you are building a neural pathway for wealth. The more you repeat it, the stronger the pathway becomes. Eventually, the pathway becomes so strong that it becomes your default setting. Your brain automatically thinks thoughts of wealth. Your subconscious automatically attracts circumstances of wealth. This is not magic. This is neuroscience. Murphy called this prayer therapy. Science calls it self-directed neuroplasticity. The principle is the same. You are directing your own brain to rewire itself according to your conscious intention. You are not a victim of your brain. You are the programmer of your brain. And the theta state is the programming window. This is why the moments before sleep are so powerful. This is why Murphy insisted on using them intentionally, because in those moments you have direct access to the operating system of your mind. Neuroscientists have also discovered that the brain does not distinguish between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. When you imagine eating a lemon, the same areas of the brain light up as when you actually eat a lemon. When you imagine running, the same motor neurons fire as when you actually run. This is why Olympic athletes use visualization. They mentally rehearse their performance, and the brain treats the rehearsal as real. The neural pathways are strengthened. The performance improves. Murphy understood this principle decades before neuroscience confirmed it. This is the biological basis of the law of assumption. When you assume that your desire is already fulfilled, when you feel it as real, your brain creates the neural pathways that correspond to that reality. And once those pathways are in place, your behavior changes automatically. You start acting like a wealthy person. You start making decisions like a wealthy person. You start attracting opportunities like a wealthy person. Not because you are faking it, but because your brain has been rewired. The neural pathways of wealth are now stronger than the neural pathways of poverty. Murphy taught that the subconscious controls all the automatic functions of the body: heartbeat, digestion, cell repair, immune response. Neuroscience confirms this. These functions are governed by the autonomic nervous system, which operates below the level of conscious awareness. But here is the key. The autonomic nervous system is influenced by your thoughts and emotions. If you think thoughts of fear, your autonomic nervous system activates the stress response. If you think thoughts of peace, your autonomic nervous system activates the relaxation response. Your thoughts are not separate from your biology. Your thoughts are biology. This is why Murphy insisted that you can heal your body with your mind. If your thoughts can activate the stress response, They can also activate the healing response. If your thoughts can make you sick, they can also make you well. The mechanism is the same. The subconscious, operating through the autonomic nervous system, responds to the dominant impression. If the dominant impression is sickness, the body becomes sick. If the dominant impression is health, the body becomes healthy. This is not wishful thinking. This is the biological law of psychosomatic medicine. Scientists have also discovered the role of the reticular activating system, RAS, in manifestation. The RAS is a network of neurons in the brainstem that filters sensory information. It decides what you pay attention to and what you ignore. If you program your RAS to look for wealth, you will start noticing opportunities for wealth that were always there, but that you previously ignored. If you program your RAS to look for problems, you will start noticing problems everywhere. The RAS is the biological mechanism behind the law of attraction. You attract what you focus on because your brain filters reality to match your focus. Murphy said, "What you focus on expands." Neuroscience explains why. The RAS amplifies whatever you focus on. If you focus on lack, the RAS shows you more lack. If you focus on abundance, the RAS shows you more abundance. This is why the lullaby protocol is so powerful. By focusing on your desire in the theta state, you are programming your RAS to filter reality in favor of that desire. You are literally training your brain to see opportunities that will help you manifest your goal. The opportunities were always there. You just weren't seeing them. Now you see them. And once you see them, you can act on them. Another neuroscientific concept that validates Murphy's work is the role of mirror neurons. Mirror neurons are brain cells that fire both when you perform an action and when you observe someone else performing that action. This is why you can learn by watching. This is why you can feel empathy. This is also why visualization works. When you visualize yourself as wealthy, your mirror neurons fire as if you are actually wealthy. Your brain creates the experience of wealth, even though the wealth has not yet manifested in the physical world. And because your brain cannot distinguish between the imagined experience and the real experience, it begins to make the imagined experience real. Murphy taught that the subconscious is connected to infinite intelligence, to a universal mind that contains all knowledge, all creativity, all solutions. Neuroscience is beginning to explore this through the study of the default mode network, DMN, a network of brain regions that becomes active when you are not focused on the external world. The DMN is associated with creativity, insight, and problem-solving. It is the source of aha moments, sudden flashes of inspiration that seem to come out of nowhere. Murphy would say these flashes come from the subconscious. Neuroscience says they come from the DMN. The terminology is different, but the experience is the same. When you use the lullaby protocol, you are activating the DMN. You are allowing your subconscious to access the vast reservoir of knowledge and creativity that exists below the level of conscious awareness. This is why solutions often appear out of the blue after you have programmed the subconscious. The subconscious has been working on the problem while you were sleeping, using the DMN to explore possibilities, make connections, and generate insights. And then, when you least expect it, the solution appears in your conscious mind, fully formed, ready to be acted upon. The neuroscience of habit formation also validates Murphy's teachings. Neuroscientists have discovered that habits are stored in the basal ganglia, a part of the brain that operates automatically, without conscious effort. Once a habit is formed, it runs on autopilot. This is why it is so hard to break bad habits. The neural pathways are deeply ingrained, but it is also why the lullaby protocol is so effective. By repeating a new thought pattern in the theta state, you are creating a new habit in the basal ganglia. Over time, this new habit becomes automatic. You no longer have to consciously think thoughts of wealth. Your brain thinks them automatically. This is the biological basis of thinking from the end. Murphy said, "Your habitual thinking and imagery mold, fashion, and create your destiny." Neuroscience confirms this. Your habitual thoughts create neural pathways. Your neural pathways create automatic behaviors. Your automatic behaviors create your life circumstances. If you want to change your life, you must change your habitual thoughts. And the most effective way to change your habitual thoughts is to reprogram your subconscious in the theta state, using the lullaby protocol. This is not theory. This is biology. This is the science of transformation. The validation from neuroscience is overwhelming. Every principle Murphy taught has a biological correlate. The subconscious is real. The theta state is real. Neuroplasticity is real. The RAS is real. Mirror neurons are real. The DMN is real. The basal ganglia are real. Murphy was not teaching mysticism. He was teaching biology. He was teaching the operating system of the human mind. And now, decades after his death, science is catching up, confirming what he knew all along. You are the programmer of your own brain. You are the architect of your own destiny, and the tool you use to build that destiny is the subconscious mind. Now we come to the anecdote, the story that illustrates the principle in action. Joseph Murphy once counseled a young actor who was talented, charismatic, and passionate about his craft. But despite his talent, he was constantly rejected. He went to audition after audition, only to hear the same words. "We'll call you." They never called. He was stuck in a cycle of rejection, frustration, and mounting debt. He was ready to give up. He came to Murphy as a last resort. Murphy listened to his story and then asked him a simple question. "What do you say to yourself before you fall asleep?" The actor thought for a moment and then admitted, "I usually replay the auditions in my mind. I think about all the mistakes I made, all the ways I could have done better, and then I worry about money. I fall asleep thinking, I'm never going to make it. I'm going to be broke forever." Murphy nodded. "That is your problem. You are commanding your subconscious to create more rejection and more poverty. Every night, you are planting seeds of failure, and every day, you are harvesting the fruit of those seeds." The actor was stunned. He had never thought of it that way. Murphy explained the lullaby protocol. He told the actor to stop replaying his failures before sleep. Instead, he was to choose a single phrase and repeat it every night in the drowsy state before sleep. "I am a huge success." That was it. No long speeches, no detailed visualizations, just those 4 words repeated with feeling as he drifted off to sleep. The actor agreed to try it, though he was skeptical. For the first few nights, nothing happened. The actor repeated the phrase, "I am a huge success," but he did not feel successful. He felt like a fraud. Murphy had warned him about this. He said, "Do not judge the technique by your feelings in the first few days. The subconscious takes time to accept a new command. Keep planting the seed, the harvest will come." So the actor persisted. Night after night he repeated the phrase, and slowly something began to shift. He started to feel different. He started to carry himself differently. He started to believe it. 3 weeks into the practice, something extraordinary happened. The actor was not at an audition. He was at a restaurant, having dinner with a friend. A man at the next table overheard their conversation and introduced himself. He was a producer. He had been watching the actor from across the room and was struck by his presence, his confidence, his energy. He asked if the actor had representation. The actor said yes. The producer handed him a business card and said, "Call my office tomorrow. I have a role that might be perfect for you." The actor could not believe it. He had not auditioned. He had not sent a headshot. He had not done anything except be himself. And yet, here was an opportunity, falling into his lap. He called the producer's office the next day. Within a week, he was offered a lead role in a major production. Within a year, he was a household name. His career exploded, and it all started with 4 words, repeated every night before sleep. "I am a huge success." When the actor returned to Murphy to thank him, Murphy said, "You did not get lucky. You used the law. You programmed your subconscious for success, and your subconscious maneuvered you to the right place at the right time. The producer did not find you by accident. Your subconscious drew him to you. It orchestrated the circumstances. It set up the dominoes. All you did was give the command and let the night shift do the work." This story illustrates the key principle. You do not have to force the result. You do not have to audition harder, work longer, or struggle more. You simply have to command the deep mind and then trust the law. The subconscious knows how to bring about the result. It knows the path. It knows the people. It knows the timing. Your job is not to figure out the how. Your job is to give the command and then get out of the way. The rest is automatic. Murphy told hundreds of stories like this. A businessman who was on the verge of bankruptcy programmed his subconscious for divine order, and within weeks received an unexpected contract that saved his company. A woman who had been sick for years programmed her subconscious for perfect health, and her symptoms began to disappear. A student who was failing his exams programmed his subconscious for infinite intelligence, and suddenly found himself understanding concepts that had previously baffled him. The stories are endless. The principle is the same. Command the deep mind, and it must obey. The anecdote of the actor is not unique. It is the law in action, and the law works for everyone who works with it. It does not matter if you are an actor, a businessman, a student, or a parent. It does not matter if you are rich or poor, young or old, educated or uneducated. The law is impartial. The law is universal. The law responds to one thing and one thing only, the command you give to your subconscious mind. If you give the right command, in the right state with the right feeling, the result is guaranteed. This is not faith. This is science. This is the biological, neurological, undeniable mechanism of manifestation. You have a silent partner. It never sleeps. It never tires. It never doubts. It is capable of anything you can imagine and more. It is the subconscious mind, the treasure house within, the engine room of your life. For years, you have been sailing a ship without knowing that you had a crew. You have been trying to do everything yourself, exhausting yourself, burning yourself out, wondering why success is so hard. But now you know the truth. You are not alone. You have a team of invisible workers, ready and willing to execute any command you give them. The power you possess is not small. It is not limited. It is not conditional. It is infinite. Joseph Murphy spent his entire life proving this. He worked with thousands of people, rich and poor, sick and healthy, successful and struggling, and he found that the principle works for everyone. The subconscious does not play favorites. It does not require you to be worthy. It does not require you to earn it. It simply requires you to command it, and the moment you command it, it begins to work. This is the synthesis of power. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are not at the mercy of the economy, your boss, your past, or your genes. You are the captain of your own ship. You have always been the captain. The problem was that you did not know you had a crew. You did not know how to speak to them. You did not know the language of the deep mind. But now you know. And with this knowledge, everything changes. The synthesis is this. Your thoughts are commands. Your feelings are the power behind the commands. Your subconscious is the executor of the commands. And your life is the physical manifestation of the commands you have been giving, consciously or unconsciously, for your entire life. If you do not like your life, you do not need to change your circumstances. You need to change your commands. Change your commands, and your circumstances will change automatically. This is the law. This is the promise. This is the power. Murphy said, "You are the master of your own destiny. You can influence, direct, and control your own environment. You can make your life what you want it to be." This is not motivational fluff. This is a statement of biological fact. Your brain is neuroplastic. Your subconscious is programmable. Your RAS is trainable. Your habits are changeable. You are not stuck. You are not doomed. You are not limited by your past. You are only limited by the commands you give yourself. And starting tonight, you will give new commands. Stop struggling alone. This is the message of empowerment. You have been carrying a weight that you were never meant to carry. You have been trying to force things to happen with willpower, effort, and sheer determination. And it has left you exhausted, frustrated, and defeated. But it does not have to be this way. You have an infinite intelligence inside you. You have a subconscious mind that is connected to the source of all power, all creativity, all solutions. And this intelligence is waiting for your instruction. Give it the order. That is all you have to do. Choose your destination. Choose your desire. Condense it into a word or a phrase. And then every night as you drift off to sleep, repeat that word or phrase with feeling. Let the subconscious carry the heavy load. Let the night shift do the work. Your only job is to choose the destination. The subconscious is the engine that gets you there. You do not have to figure out the route. You do not have to solve every problem. You do not have to force every door open. You simply have to command and then trust. Murphy said, "The only path by which another person can upset you is through your own thought. This means that no one has power over you except the power you give them through your own thinking. If you think you are a victim, you become a victim. If you think you are powerful, you become powerful. The choice is yours. The power is yours. And starting tonight, you will reclaim that power. You will stop giving it away to circumstances, to people, to fear. You will take it back, and you will use it to build the life you were meant to live. Wealth is not reserved for the lucky few. Health is not reserved for the genetically blessed. Success is not reserved for the talented elite. These things are available to everyone who understands the law and uses it. The law does not discriminate. It does not care about your background, your education, your connections, or your past failures. It only cares about one thing, the command you give to your subconscious mind. If you command wealth, you get wealth. If you command health, you get health. If you command success, you get success. The law is impartial. The law is certain. The law is yours to use. Murphy taught that you are not separate from infinite intelligence. You are an expression of it. The same intelligence that created the stars, the oceans, the mountains, the forests, is inside you. It is your subconscious mind. And when you command it, you are not commanding a servant. You are commanding the universe itself. You are activating the creative power that brought all things into existence. This is not arrogance. This is recognition. You are recognizing what you have always been, a creator, a captain, a master of your own destiny. The message of empowerment is simple. You are not weak. You are not helpless. You are not at the mercy of forces beyond your control. You are the force. You are the power. You are the intelligence. And the moment you realize this, the moment you accept this, the moment you act on this, your life will never be the same. You will stop begging for scraps. You will stop settling for less. You will stop tolerating mediocrity. You will rise to your full stature. You will claim your birthright. You will open the treasure house within. Murphy said, "Begin to imagine the reality of the successful businessman, the successful actor, the successful writer, the successful doctor. Fill your mind with the picture of success. Know that success is yours. This is the instruction. This is the protocol. This is the path. Stop imagining failure. Stop rehearsing poverty. Stop dwelling on sickness. Start imagining success. Start rehearsing wealth. Start dwelling on health, and do it every night, in the lullaby state, where the subconscious is listening, where the door is open, where the command goes in deep. You have everything you need. You have always had everything you need. The problem was never a lack of resources. The problem was a lack of knowledge. You did not know how to access the resources. You did not know how to command the deep mind. But now you know. And with this knowledge comes responsibility. You can no longer blame your circumstances. You can no longer play the victim. You can no longer say, "I can't." Because now you know you can. You have the power. You have the tool. You have the law. The only question is, will you use it? This is the challenge. Tonight, when you lie down to sleep, you will begin the 7-night lullaby challenge. You will pick one word, not 10 words, not a paragraph. One word. It could be wealth. It could be health, it could be love, it could be success. Whatever you desire most, condense it into a single word. And for the next 7 nights, you will repeat that word as you drift off to sleep. You will feel it, you will assume it, you will let it sink into the subconscious, and you will see what happens. 7 nights is not arbitrary. Murphy taught that it takes at least 7 days of consistent programming for the subconscious to accept a new command and begin manifesting it. Some people see results in hours, some see results in days, but 7 nights is the minimum commitment. If you cannot commit to 7 nights, you are not serious. If you cannot repeat a single word for 7 nights, you do not want the result badly enough. But if you can commit, if you can persist, if you can trust the law, you will see results that will astound you. The challenge is not to see if the law works. The law always works. The challenge is to see if you will work the law. Will you take control of your inner speech? Will you guard your thoughts? Will you stop canceling your own commands? Will you persist through doubt, through impatience, through the temptation to give up? This is the test. This is the initiation. This is the moment when you prove to yourself that you are the captain, not the passenger, that you are the programmer, not the program, that you are the master, not the slave. Murphy said, "The way to get rid of darkness is to light a candle. The way to overcome cold is to build a fire. The way to overcome the negative thought is to substitute the positive thought. This is the challenge. Stop focusing on what you do not want. Start focusing on what you do want. Stop replaying your failures. Start rehearsing your success. Stop falling asleep in fear. Start falling asleep in faith. The law is waiting. The subconscious is waiting. The treasure house is waiting. The only thing that is not waiting is time. The time to start is now. Subscribe to Sacred Logic. This is the final call to action. If you found value in this video, if you felt the truth of these principles, if you are ready to unlock the treasure house within, subscribe to this channel. More teachings are coming. More techniques are coming. More secrets are coming. Joseph Murphy left a legacy of wisdom, and this channel is dedicated to preserving it, refining it, and delivering it to those who are ready to receive it. You are ready. You would not have watched this far if you were not ready. Comment below, "I command the deep." This is not a ritual. This is a declaration. You are announcing to your own subconscious that you are taking command, that you are no longer a passive observer of your life, but an active creator. The subconscious is listening. The crew is waiting. The night shift is ready to go to work. All you have to do is give the order. And the order starts with those 4 words. I command the deep. This is not the end. This is the beginning. Tonight, you will begin the 7-night lullaby challenge. You will choose your word. You will repeat it with feeling. You will fall asleep in the assumption of the wish fulfilled. And 7 days from now, you will return to this channel and share your results. You will tell the world what happened when you commanded the deep mind. You will become living proof that the law works, that the treasure house is real, that wealth without struggle is not a fantasy, but a biological certainty. This is your destiny. This is your power. This is your time. Command the deep and watch your life transform.